Hey guys, Dr. Nathan Warren here. I want to go over something that, especially here in the Southeast, I get asked about not only all the time, but just is kind of a constant thing. I know a lot of places in the United States and even worldwide kind of goes in seasons, but here in the Southeast, it kind of seems like it's in every season. And that's sinus and allergy and histamine type of reactions. So when we're talking about like acute rhinitis or we're talking about chronic, sinus issues and rhinitis, we're going to go over what does the science say. Also, what have I seen clinically to help my patients support their immune system, support their antihistamine systems within the body, and see some relief and some improvements in their seasonal or intermittent allergy season. So let's dive into it here. So the first one I want to talk about is butterbur. And when you hear about the herb butterbur, I think a lot of times the assumption is, oh, well, I've never heard of that before. There's no science behind that. Well, actually, let's go over a couple studies that I thought were pretty fantastic. So the first one I want to talk about was actually comparing in a double-blind controlled placebo study. They were looking at the comparison of butterbur versus fexofenadine, right? So that name being, like, you may have commonly heard it as Allegra. So something that millions of Americans are taking either on a daily basis or a seasonal basis to help with sinus and allergy issues. So if you're taking that, you definitely want to listen to this here. So when they looked at it, they compared taking 8 milligrams 3 times a day of butterbur, and they compared that to both placebo and they compared it to groups taking the actual like Allegra, right? And so what they found at the end of the study is they saw that the butterbur was actually had the same effects and was comparable to Allegra. And so what that means is that what's amazing about this is, one, you get to avoid a lot of the side effects and the issues that come with taking Allegra. So if you just do a simple Google search, you can find that these medications do have side effects. They can include things like gastrointestinal issues. They can actually include things like interactions with other drugs. And again, as you guys know, when you're taking something, specifically a drug or a medication, there is always a trade-off there. So again, a lot safer and comparable to when it came to acute rhinitis, so acute allergies, as well as chronic. Okay. The second one, same thing, randomized control placebo study, actually looked and compared it to another popular one, which you guys know as Zyrtec, right? So we looked at this one. Basically, they looked at a 2-week course, and they were taking butterbur up to 4 times a day with acute rhinitis, so acute, allergic type of reaction, seasonal allergies. And then they compared that to citrazine taken at 1 time a day for 2 weeks, and they found the same thing. It was comparable. What is amazing about that? Well, as we know, that one can create when you're looking at these medications, some of them can create drowsiness. They're going to interact with different things, including alcohol. Haven't been studied super well with that component. And then, as you always know, there's no way to test these specific things with every drug on the market, and there's some dangers within that. Plus, we know that everybody's lifestyle is different. So, bottom line is, when we look at the effects of butterbur, comparable and the same, essentially the same as taking Allegra or Zyrtec, why would you not choose something that is a lot healthier for you and a lot healthier for the body, that has antihistamine effects on the body, as well as seeing some major improvements with the symptoms that come from seasonal allergies? Next one I want to talk about is looking at something called serrapeptase. And this is something that I've used quite a bit. This is going to be what's considered a proteolytic enzyme. This is going to be enzymes that have specific jobs in the body. And really, when you look at serrapeptase, 2 of its specific jobs are, 1, helping with inflammation. Two, does a really great job of breaking down mucus. So in this study, which was a double-blind placebo-controlled study, they looked at the effects on acute and chronic ear, nose, and throat conditions. And what they found is that taking doses of serapeptase for 3 or 4 days showed faster reduction in swelling, pain, and mucus production in 3 or 4 days. So serapeptase is pretty fantastic. In the study itself, they used 5 milligram tablets, and so basically doing that like 2 tablets and doing that a couple times a day for 7 to 8 days. So it equaled about 30 milligrams per day of serapeptase. But again, how many of you guys that have, seasonal allergies would love to be able to reduce not only the swelling, the way you're able to breathe, the way that you're able to get air in, but also too the symptoms of it as well, and get to see the mucus production actually go down. Well, guess what? Serapeptase can be a great one for that as well. The next one is propolis, right? So looking at things like bee propolis, this is something with my patients that I've used both in a nasal spray and in an oral spray that really seems to have a major effect on the microbiome, the immune system, even from a preventative standpoint. But these studies specifically looked at reducing total symptoms and symptom scores. This was a 2024 clinical study, and they actually looked at the acute rhinitis, and they also looked at some chronic stuff in the next study. But what they found is that utilizing a nasal spray actually helped to reduce acute symptoms of sinusitis and acute symptoms of seasonal allergies, which I thought was pretty amazing, especially when you think about bee propolis, antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, has some amazing healing properties as well for tissue. So I'm a huge fan of using propolis. The second one looked at a throat spray, 2 to 4 sprays, 3 times a day for acute sinus issues, and they saw a major reduction in both symptoms, mucus productions when compared to placebo. So again, propolis can be a very, very safe and effective one to use. I actually use a propolis spray with my kids sometimes before they go to school. We use it again if they're getting a little bit of a sore throat. It's a fantastic way to be able to help with the microbiome in the ear, nose, throat area and be able to support that as well. The last one the second to last one I want to talk about is vitamin C. So when we look at vitamin C, they've done studies on both IV vitamin C, but I want to talk about the oral one. I thought this was a super cool study. So what they did is they looked at people with allergic rhinitis, so again, looking at these allergy type symptoms, and what they found is that they actually divided them in different groups. One group did, they were the placebo group, one group just did exercise to see how that affected their seasonal allergies. And then the other group actually did both exercise daily and they did vitamin C. They did 2 grams a day, right? So 1,000 milligrams twice a day. And what they found is that exercise itself actually improved symptoms of acute rhinitis and seasonal allergies. But when they combined it, right, with the 2 grams a day of vitamin C, they actually saw even more significant results with reducing those symptoms and even preventing those symptoms in the first place. So maybe adding, 2 grams of vitamin C a day could be a very good thing for you. Vitamin C has its own antihistamine benefits. Vitamin C is also amazing at helping to not only support the immune system, but also support the adrenals, right? Our adrenals really being that kind of stress response organ. Always a good idea in a 24/7 stressful world. Always a good idea to be able to do that as well. And the last one I want to talk about is quercetin. So I want to mention quercetin here. Randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial looking at quercetin phytosome in adults with looking at both eye and nose allergy symptoms. They did 200 milligrams of quercetin daily for 4 weeks, and they saw not only did the symptoms get better compared to placebo, they also reported that their quality of life drastically improved as well, utilizing quercetin. And remember, quercetin is super powerful for a couple different things. I'm a big fan when somebody's actually having active symptoms, dealing with, whether it's viral, whether it's even, again, acute sinus issues. I like for them to actually do it alongside of some zinc. That quercetin helps to deliver the zinc into the cell as a zinc ionophore, really helps with that process. And then also too, I like to use quercetin kind of standing alone as its kind of natural antihistamine. And quercetin also does something really special when you utilize it like in a fasted state, kind of away from zinc, away from food, and actually works to break down damaged cells, right? So it helps with cellular apoptosis, breaking down those damaged cells, which is always a beneficial thing. Remember, just logic will tell you the more you break down the bad stuff, and then the better you're able to rebuild and repair. Guess what? That creates a new human being, a healthier you, right? So I'm a major fan of quercetin, and I jumped the gun a little bit. There's one more I wanted to mention, which is NAC, N-acetylcysteine. NAC is something that I think is absolutely phenomenal. One of my big pet peeves is I feel like drug companies have been for so long trying to get after NAC because of its massive, amazing effects. So I'm a huge fan of utilizing NAC. NAC actually has some fantastic evidence looking at its improvements in lung function, and when you look into the scientific literature, you're going to see cool things on from bronchitis to COPD to improvements in other types of lung conditions as well, including asthma. So I'm a huge fan of utilizing NAC, and there is many studies on NAC. There's even a couple really great ones on irrigation, so utilizing like nasal spray that contains NAC or irrigating with the NAC solution, especially when you combine it with saline solution, really seeing some cool things happen with acute sinus issues. And then also too, for that lung support, NAC really being a precursor to glutathione production, which is always a big deal, right? Glutathione being your antioxidant, master antioxidant produced in the liver. Again, the healthier we're able to produce glutathione, again, the healthier you are as a human being. So I'm a huge fan of utilizing NAC as well. So that gives you some tools for the toolbox. So when we're looking at how to put that together, again, maybe you start off with saying, hey, you know what? I've been having a lot of mucus, so I'm going to hit some serapeptase. I'm also going to utilize some vitamin C, especially for adults, shooting for that 2 grams a day. And then maybe throw one more in there that says, oh, I'm going to use a propolis spray, or maybe it's NAC. Either way, I think there's so many different options here for being able to not only handle the symptoms that come with seasonal allergies, but even being on the preventative side. And I didn't even talk about the benefits of raw honey, like especially raw local honey, and some of the amazing immune benefits that come with that. The antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungal, things that come alongside of that as well. So there's other things that work good. Feverfew is absolutely amazing when you look at things like, sinus headaches and migraines. So there's so many cool things out there. And as always, right, obviously, if you're taking other medications, you want to make sure that you consult your physician, so that we're not interacting with things, especially in the herbal world, that could interact with that. But also too, let me give a caveat to this. This doesn't mean that when you go into your doctor, you say, hey, I'm going to try this, and they're like, oh, don't do that. And the question should be why, right? It is okay. Let me tell you guys, it is okay to ask the question, why can't I take this? Because what you're going to find a lot of times is you're going to say, well, I just don't know about it. To me, that is not an excuse. That means, how about you go learn about it and then let me know the scientific reason why I shouldn't be taking this. And if you can give me that, then I got it, right? But it is okay for you guys to ask why. Just saying I don't know is not good enough, okay? And I challenge all my patients the same way. I challenge my kids the same way. One of the most powerful questions you can ask is why. Because if you are able to live a life where you don't have to take drugs and medications to work on seasonal allergies and histamine issues, guess what? Your body is going to respond better. It is going to be in a healthier state. So remember, it's up to you to take control of your own health. And hopefully this gives you guys some tools for your toolbox to be able to support a healthy immune system, to support a healthy reaction and adaptation to seasonal allergies. So again, tools for your toolbox. If you want more information about this, as always, go to doctorswarren.com. There we actually have our online store full of supplements that we utilize for our patients, our clients, our coaching partners, as well as, for myself, for my kids, for my family. And we have all kinds of protocols in there, including seasonal allergy protocols to help support your body's natural healing, which is absolutely amazing. So if you're always worried about, well, should I just Amazon this, Google this, take this? Guess what, guys? We have professional products that we know work and that we see work both in ourselves and in patients as well. So remember, there is a major difference in what you take. If you buy cheap supplements, guess what? You can expect a cheap result. If you take things not in a therapeutic dose or in the right dose, it may not work for you. And then you say, oh, this didn't work, even though you didn't take it appropriately based on what the studies actually show. So if you need more information about that, go to doctorswarren.com. You can get on our store. You can find all the information about that as well. And as always, make sure you tune in for our next videos. Like, subscribe, make sure that you share our videos so that way we can get our message out on health and wellness to as many people as possible. And as always, guess what, guys? Health is a choice, and today you guys made a great choice by listening to our perspective on how to take your immune system during seasonal allergies to the next level. I'll see you guys in the next video.